body too, and darling, kiss me like it's the last time. It's hard to trust this feeling, 'cause all my life I've been waiting, waiting, waiting for you. I've been praying, praying, praying for you. Waiting for you. The darker time I was going through. Maybe one day I'll tell it all to you. And from the first time we laid eyes right there, I knew that you'd be by my side all my life. Waiting for you. I've been praying, 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 praying for you. Coming on your side, till the blue skies fall, till the mountains crack. Oh, I got your back. Look into my eyes, you will see my heart. And the chorus pure, it's yours because I've been waiting, 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 waiting for you. I've been praying, 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 praying for you.
I know you want me like you used to know, 'cause you be running circles to wanna go. I've been taking it mile by mile, but you spread your love way too thin, so I'm losing my religion. I'm losing my religion. I know you want me like you used to know, 'cause you be running circles to wanna go. I've been taking it mile by mile, but you spread your love way too thin. I never thought I'd feel like this. Ooh, never thought I could. I never thought I'd be on my shit, be on my. I'm spending my time in love like I should, and no more struggling. I'm all good. Yeah, I never thought I'd feel like this, feel like this. I never thought I'd feel like this. should've no more struggling. I'm all good. Yeah, I never thought I'd feel like this. Feel like this. I know you want me like you used to know. Cause you've been running circles for one night ago. I've been taking it mile by mile, but you spent your love with just this. I'm spending my time in love like I should, and no more struggling. I'm all good. Yeah, I never thought I'd feel like this. Feel like I'm spending my time in love like I should, and no more struggling. I'm all good. Yeah, I never thought I'd feel like this. Feel like
You're the type that doesn't back down, back down, back down. Don't say you don't care how I look. I'll show you how I earn my crown. And if I came from my side, yeah, yeah. Only you. Oh, second only you. Oh, second only you. Oh, second only. Oh, second only you. You're the type that doesn't back down, back down. Don't say you don't care how I look. I'll show you how I earn my crown. If I came from my side, yeah. Oh, second only you. Oh, second only you. Oh, second only you. Oh, second only. Oh, second only you. Don't get me out. I would do something terrible. Don't tell you, don't tell you. Took my number by mistake. I'll show you how, I'll show you how. Show you how to fix me out. Don't let me down, don't let me down. Oh, I second drown. Oh, I second only you. Oh, I second only you. Oh, I second only you. Oh, I second drown. Oh, I second drown you. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
I see your smile from all around, from every sunrise till sundown. We fall in love, we fall down. No matter what, you're my lost and found. I see your smile from all around, from every sunrise till sundown. We fall in love, we fall down. No matter what, you're my lost and found. My lost and found. My lost and found. I see your smile from all around, from every sunrise till sundown. We fall in love, we fall down. No matter what, you're my lost and found. I see your smile from all around, from every sunrise till sundown. We fall in love, we fall down. No matter what, you're my lost and found. My lost and found. My lost and found.
Wake me up in Paris. Take me down the highway back to Dallas, Dallas. Wake me up in Rio. Baby, we got so much left to see you, see you. When we wake up, don't stop dreaming. Keep your faith, don't stop believing. All our sins will be forgiven. Baby, wake me up in heaven.
Baby, wake me up in.
Baby, wake me up in. Wake me up in Paris. Take me down the highway back to Dallas, Dallas. Wake me up in Rio. Baby, we got so much left to see you, see you. When we wake up, don't stop dreaming. Keep your faith, don't stop believing. All our sins will be forgiven. Baby, wake me up in heaven. Baby, we got so much love to see.
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone's Tuesday? Well, welcome to AI Tuesdays. I have Narcisse today, if I'm not mistaken, and Bukeka. Is Bukeka here already, or it's just you, my man?
It's just me. She was
Oh, okay.
unavailable today.
Oh, okay. I was just hoping that I was gonna see something, you do that you two. But anyways, welcome everyone to AI Tuesdays. Um, you
Mm.
know, We want to put AI everywhere, but today we're just putting it in Tuesdays because Tuesday is the day to actually learn artificial intelligence. I personally love artificial intelligence because I've used it in different applications and different devices that I have. So it's a very exciting concept, and Narcisse here, and for last week we had Vega is one person that actually takes us through how to build stuff using artificial intelligence, and it's very exciting. So welcome, Narcisse.
Thank you for the nice intro, Somalese. Really appreciate it. Unfortunately, Bukeka couldn't make it, so apologies on her side. Today we're going to be focusing on machine learning in Azure, Microsoft Azure, so we're going to be making the most of it. It's going to be a bit hectic, but if you just pay attention, I think you'll get the hang of it. If I'm too fast, you must let me know. If I'm too slow or you don't understand anything, you must just let me know. And so, Melissa, I'm going to have to ask if you can just time me a bit because, I tend to over exaggerate sometimes.
Don't worry. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess we can get started. We're gonna get started where we left off last week, where we started speaking about Microsoft Azure. And probably some of you are probably wondering right now, what is Microsoft Azure? So we're gonna spend a couple of minutes talking about Microsoft Azure, and then we're gonna go back to machine learning. So let me just play my slides quickly. Share my screen as well. Share screen. Aibo, technology. Okay, so there's my screen. I hope you can see it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, 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 yes.
Awesome, awesome. So there you go, our famous logo, being a Microsoft student ambassador. But anyways, without wasting any more time, we're gonna get straight into it. The awesome good stuff content. Um, let's go. So get started with Microsoft Azure. I'm just introducing Microsoft Azure. I'm gonna leave it for Tori and the crew on Azure Fridays and .NET Fridays for them to elaborate further on this. But I'm introducing so people can have an idea of what we're doing and what we're gonna be talking about. So if I'm too fast, just let me know. We're gonna be talking about what is our cloud fundamentals, what is Azure, some core Azure concepts, some core Azure App Services and Azure Storage, and then we're going to take a look at a small demo. So a quick introduction. Let us set it in a scenario, right? So I want you to imagine or look at the example of electricity, how we have electricity in our houses. We don't even know or understand how the electricity comes to our house. All we know is ESCOM. So we all know if anything goes wrong with electricity, it's always ESCOM. If load shedding, it's ESCOM. Everything ESCOM, ESCOM, ESCOM. So now if we take a deeper look into how electricity comes to our house, right? To our houses, to our suburbs and neighborhoods, we're gonna see that ESCOM produces the electricity in their factories, or I don't know, but they by their stations where it's located, and then the electricity travels through the lines in the streets, and from the lines in the streets it goes through like generators and stuff, and then into our houses. So all of that is hidden behind a flip of a switch, a click of a switch. Every time you plug in your phone or switch on the kettle, and that whole process is hidden from the flip of the switch. And the good thing about it is that you pay for the amount of electricity you use. So if you if you use a lot of electricity, you're gonna pay more. If you use less electricity, you're gonna pay less. Isn't that like an awesome service to use? So I want you to have that idea in mind when we're gonna be talking about the cloud platform and what is Azure. So that is a small scenario that you see there explaining everything I just did. Yeah, I just mentioned now. And now let's move on to cloud fundamentals. So what is cloud fundamentals? So simply cloud computing is simply refers to the resources that are offered or as a pay as you go over the internet. So basically everything right now is on the cloud. Everything that we know and use, like you can name it. You can name it. Everything is going basically on the cloud. For example, our storage, our devices, everything we can get it on the cloud. And um, all these services that are available on the cloud, we can be able to use it by paying for it, as I mentioned with the electricity earlier on. So, as is mentioned in the note, with cloud services, you can choose what is right for you and only pay for what you use. So, no more like in the olden days, if I wanted to buy a new laptop in a company, that means I'm going to have to spend a lot of money buying new systems, new machines for all my employees. But now with cloud services, I can just go onto a cloud platform and get all those machines that I need for all my employees, and then I just set a limit for how much they use, and I pay for that amount, so I can save money, and it helps me as well along the process. So that is an example. So there are three models that are used when dealing with cloud platform. They are there are cloud models, or what am I saying? Okay, there are three common models that can be used when working with cloud services: public cloud model, private cloud model, and hybrid cloud model. Public cloud model is for everyone to use. Private cloud model is for private companies and organization, and hybrid cloud models is mixed in between for private and public. And this one is mostly used by governments. So there are three types of cloud services: the software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So going deep into it, so basically, software as a service, software as a service, you use softwares on the cloud platform, and and you use it as a service. So whatever service use on your respective cloud, or whatever cloud platform you want to use, you're gonna pay for that. So for example, if I don't want to download Microsoft Word, or I don't use Visual Studio, or I download Visual Studio on my laptop because I can't handle it, all I can do is go to that cloud platform, get Visual Studio, and I pay for the amount of time I use that Visual Studio on the cloud platform. Platform as a service. Platform as a service simply now goes into the infrastructure or the machine that you want to use on the cloud. For example, as I mentioned, my PC is not able to handle Visual Studio. So what I do, I go to the cloud and then get a virtual machine, and like a nice Windows machine on the cloud. And now with 8 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, and I specify to the amount of things to meet my needs, to meet what I'm trying to do as my work or for a job. And then on top of it, I just pay for what I use, for what I just declared for. And if I want to return back, or if I want to what to to cancel the whole thing, I can, and I just get charged for what I use. And then comes infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service is you renting a machine to run your operating system. So now, as I said, platform as a service, it comes down to a machine for you to use and all the software is available to you. Infrastructure as a service now comes down to operating systems. So your Ubuntu, your Windows 10, all those operating systems, you get to use it on the cloud without you having to download it. It's really pretty cool. So I hope you understand. If I missed out anything or someone doesn't understand anything I've just said, please let me know. Moving on, and now since we are since talking about cloud platforms, we're gonna be dealing with Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing platform by Microsoft. So that's the cloud platform that we'll be using. And Microsoft Azure has been around for the past 5 to 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And it provides over 100 services that enable us to do anything from running our existing application on virtual machines to exploring new softwares and intelligent bots and mixed reality. So there's basically Azure has become the foundation for many of our application and services and softwares that we use in our modern day. Let's take a look at it more in more elaboration. So as you can see in this diagram over here, we got security, we got platform as a service, hybrid cloud services, compute, storage, networking, and the data center infrastructure. So to elaborate more, security and management are all the services that you need to have a security in your services, application that you are using. Platform as a service, there's application platform. These are all to run your softwares and to publish and deploy your softwares. You got developer services for you to use. As I mentioned, I want to run Visual Studio on my laptop, but I can't. So I go onto Azure and I use the Visual Studio there, and it has everything for me. You can even use the databases on Azure. Everything is there. You can literally go on and spend time on this. But because of time, I've just mentioned it briefly. If someone has any questions, they can just let me know. Moving on. So what are some of the core Azure concepts that we need to know? We're going to need to know what is an Azure subscription, what is an Azure resource group, and what is an Azure resource. So an Azure subscription is basically like a license or a contract that allows you to use Microsoft Azure. So it also determines what are the type of services that you can use on Azure as specified in your subscription or contract, in other words, to look at it. And then what is an Azure resource group? An Azure resource group is basically a group where you put all the relatable services together in one place so that you don't need to mix anything around. We're gonna take a look at it more in example. For example, I got like a collection of apples and I got a collection of oranges. I cannot mix the apples and the collection of apples and the collection of oranges together. It's gonna be a mess. So what I'm gonna do is gonna put it in one group and the apples in one group and the oranges in one group. So for example, now I just created a resource group for apples and a resource group for oranges. So for now, thinking about resource groups, what is a resource? A resource is simply a service that you use on Azure. So in more defined terms, it's a single application and resources that are shared with the same team or member in any group. So in more specific, with the example that I just made with an apple and orange. So now if I pick up one apple, that one apple in my Apple resource group is a resource. So that one apple I picked up is an example of a resource if I'm putting it in relatable terms. Now, as we go on, continued, we got Azure Resource Manager, and Azure Region, and Azure Availability Zone. So Azure Resource Manager is someone that manages the resources in the resource group. We're gonna take a look at it. And Azure Region basically specifies the regions in which the servers, the Microsoft Azure servers are stored. There are 55 regions in which Microsoft have built and planted their servers across the world, and it spreads across 140 different countries. So these servers help to scaling our application, fulfilling different compliances and data standards, and helping our application stay online even during outages and disasters. So So they're reliable of keeping everything afloat. And Azure Availability Zone is a unique physical location within an Azure region. I'll be taking a look at that. So now speaking about services, an Azure App Service is an HTTP-based service that allows us to build and host application, mobile backends, RESTful APIs, and many more. It consists of .NET Core, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Java, and PHP. And what we'll be doing today, machine learning. We are going to take a look at that. So that is an app service, as I mentioned. It allows us to use the services on the cloud. That is the function of an Azure App Service. Azure storage, as I mentioned earlier on, if we don't put our data in a local database, we can also store it online. So Azure allows us to, has three types of storages: Azure Blob Storage, Cosmos DB, and Azure SQL. For the purpose of this video on AI Tuesday, we won't be focusing on Azure storage, but I'll leave that tutorial and code to elaborate more on. But this is an example of Azure storage. As I said earlier on, it allows us to put our data not on a local machine, but onto an online platform on the cloud using these three types of services. And we're going to go to the demo now. So what will you need to access Azure? You're going to need an Azure account, and you're going to need to create that. We're going to create it just now, as I show in the demo. Skip this one. And before we go to Azure, let's go to our content for the day. Anything to say, Somaleze?
No, I was just excited for the demo. We're going to Azure. Yay!
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay. No, I can wait. I can wait. Well, for now, no questions. But I kind of love how you really explain what a resource and resource group are. So like it kind of gives us a clear depiction on what really goes on whenever we're creating resource groups and resources in Azure. Like I really love
True.
that. I fully understand what resource groups and resources are now. Like literally, because usually whenever I build something, I'm like, oh, okay, I know I need to create a resource group on Azure, then create a resource for whatever I'm trying to build, but never really understanding the concept behind it. But I really love it. I love it. Now I fully understand. I'll never just resource groups and resources now.
Yeah, like to be honest, it's difficult to grasp at first, but once you get used to it, it becomes very easy. That's what
Yeah.
we can say to it. See. Well, continuing, thanks for that, Tomaleze. Continuing, we're gonna now talk about machine learning. We're gonna go back to machine learning as we had to introduce Azure so that we wouldn't be confused when we're dealing with machine learning on Azure. So, ladies and gentlemen, folks, and the viewers watching, we're gonna be talking about machine learning on Microsoft Azure. The focus for today's episode or session, we're going to be looking at Azure, Automated Machine Learning, Azure Machine Learning Designer, and ML.NET API. We already talked about Azure, so now we're going to be talking about Automated Machine Learning and Azure Machine Learning Designer. The ML.NET API, we'll see if we can get there, but I'm thinking of leaving it for the next episode. So let's see how it goes. So what is automated machine learning, or in other words, AutoML? That's the short word abbreviated for it. It's simply a feature on Microsoft Azure that allows non-experts to quickly create an effective machine learning model from a data source. So it's available to anyone, it's open to anyone. You don't even need to learn how to code or don't even have to have any programming background knowledge. Only if all you need is to have a data source and then put it in the auto machine learning. It's going to create a machine learning model for you from the data that you've just submitted. It is so speaking of which, we're gonna look at how it works. It is the process of automating the time-consuming iterative task of machine learning model development. So I don't want to be reading. I don't want to be reading from the slides, but in the simple way of explaining what I've just read right now. So machine learning, if we had to do it by ourselves as developers, as citizens, we're gonna take time. We're gonna have to 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 keep on feeding our data, keep on training our models over and over until it produces the results that we want. And it's time consuming and it's repetitive for nothing. Like you're just repeating the same thing until you get the results that you're hoping for. And sometimes it doesn't even happen. But with automated machine learning, it does that for us. It takes that stress away from us. It allows us, by us I mean data scientists, analysts, and developers, and other professions aligned to build machine learning models with a high scale efficiency and productivity, all while sustaining a model quality. So as I mentioned, doing all of that, if by ourselves without the machine learning, we're gonna be without the automated machine learning, we're gonna be training the models over and over by ourselves. It can take hours, it can take days, and then it's gonna take long depending on the data that we have. Yo, it's so much work. But with automated machine learning, it solves that for us. Let's move on. So when to use automated machine learning or auto ML. So when the best scenario to use automated machine learning is to train it on a specific okay, so like in other words, what can I say, the is to categorize or to enable yourself to use automated machine learning, let me put it like that. You don't really, how can I say this? I think I put the title wrong, when to use automated machine learning. But like what I was trying to say is that when you have a data source and you want to train your model, and you want to have a machine learning model with using your data, you don't need to do it by yourself. If you don't have any background knowledge or programming knowledge, or you don't know a data scientist, you can use automated machine learning to do the process for you. The process that I mentioned earlier on, you can use automated machine learning to do it for you. As it states in the note, it makes the machine learning model development process, and it empowers us, the users, no matter the data or the science expertise, to identify end-to-end machine learning pipelines for any problem. Your Narcisse is just reading notes right now. I don't want to make that seem like I'm reading. So Meleze, does it seem like I'm reading?
No, 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 don't worry about it.
Yeah, but so to explain what I've just said. So let me go line by line. It empowers us users. So we don't need to feel discouraged because we are wasting time on training and repeating the same thing over and over and over, and it's taking our time, as it's time consuming. It empowers us, it makes us feel confident in our work, in the results that we're going to produce without putting in any effort. That's what it means by empowering us users. As I mentioned, data scientists, analysts, and us developers. It makes the machine learning model development process for us. We don't need to do anything. All you just need to do is supply the data, and it does the thing for us. No matter our background knowledge, our data science expertise. I'm not a data scientist. I don't know any data scientists around. So Malaysia either doesn't know any data scientists, but we made some few data scientists last month, and no offense to that, but it we don't need to know all of that, but it provides the solution to our problem. So as it states in this point over here, it implements ML solutions without extensive programming knowledge. As I've mentioned, it saves our time and our resources, so we don't need to have a nice PC or a high spec computer for us to do all this machine learning tests, because it gets done on Azure, and it leverages the best data scientists. It leverages it leverages data science best practices. So all the best practices known in the data science world, it uses that for us without us having to Google or research more about it and applying it into our data. And then it provides an agile problem solving. So basically, it provides a quick fix to our solution, or it provides a quick solution to our problem. So the things that we can do on automated machine learning is classification, regression, and time series forecasting. Classification is to group models it's to group models or to predict which categories the data will fall in based on the data. Examples like fraud detection, handwriting recognition, or object detection. Regression models, they predict numerical values based on the input that has been given. Like last week, we predicted the price of a taxi from a taxi app, and then time series forecasting to predict things, to predict something over time. So to predict the weather, to predict the price of a house over a period of time and all that. Um, how does automated machine learning work? So you first have to identify your problem that you want to solve, or it can either be classification, forecasting, or regression. It can be one of those three. Once you identify your problem, because your problem, you have to now choose where you want to use how you want to use the automated machine learning. So now earlier on when we started doing machine learning, I mentioned that it mostly involves Python. So automated machine learning works hand in hand with Python. So the Python people out there, you guys can be excited for this. So you can either choose to use the Studio Web on Microsoft Azure, or use the Python SDK, software development kit. You can choose between the two. Once you have decided, for this instance, we're going to use the Studio Web experience. We're going to use the Studio Web on Azure. Once you decided, you're going to specify the source and format and the labeled training data. So you're going to put the parameters and the restrictions that you want on your data, configure the compute target for model training. Where do you want to train? Where do you want to train your data? You want to train it locally on a virtual machine, on Azure Databricks? It's up to you. Configure the settings that you've just put, and then submit and train the model, and then you review the results. To just put into a graphical representation of what I've just said right now, as you say, user inputs data, you set your metric, what you want to do, regression, classification, or forecasting, and you set your parameters as well. And then you let the automated machine learning do the rest. So imagine 50, you can see 50%, 76%, 53%, 95%, 43%. These are the iteration, these are the number of times it trained based on the data and based on the best practices in the data science world. We would have done it by ourselves. So this ran over, you see, to the power of n, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the power of n. So imagine so much time being wasted training the thing. But now automated machine learning does that for us. And then at the end, it produces the best results for us. So the higher the score, the accurate the results will be. So 95%, 76%, 53%. We're going to get to see how that works just now. Let me see how we're doing for time, because I really want to do the demo. Okay, 30:30. I must wrap up so we can go to the demo. So speaking, that is automated machine learning. Now we're gonna quickly talk about what is Azure Machine Learning Designer. So we've just talked about what is automated machine learning. It does everything for us. But now Machine Learning Designer is more in depth and more hands-on. So it allows us to visually connect data sets and modules on an interactive canvas to create machine learning models. So Sameleze, this is like now Power Apps for machine learning in a way, because
Yeah,
it provides
yeah,
a
that's
graphical.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like the mirror thing that you're actually adopting some of the Power Apps stuff into machine learning.
Yeah, you'll get to see it just now, but I just wanted to let you know that. So if you don't know how to code or you don't know how to use automated machine learning, it's all too difficult. Now here's a visual representation with a GUI, a nice interactive graphical user interface for you to do and use machine learning. So the designer uses our Azure machine learning workspace to organize shared resources such as pipelines, data sets, compute resources, registered models, published pipelines, and real-time endpoints. All these big words I'm just mentioning and we don't know what it means. Whoa, it's so much. But don't worry, we're gonna take a look at what these words that I've just mentioned mean. But in some way, what I wanted to show over here is just Azure Machine Learning Designer is just a graphical representation on all the things that you can do to train your machine model without writing any code or having any programming knowledge at all. I hope that is clear. And as you can see, even in this small clip over here, we just drag and dropping and connecting. Moving on, how machine learning designer works. So as I mentioned, it's a drag and drop interface and very interactive. You just drag and drop your data sets and modules onto your canvas. Connect the modules to create a pipeline draft and submit a pipeline run using the computer resource in your Azure Learning Workspace. So basically, on Microsoft Azure, a workspace is provided for us to use all these drag and drop features. It provides us with a data set, it provides us with a module, with a canvas, and it provides us with modules for us to use. And then it allows us to create pipelines. And from pipelines, it allows us to train our data to train our data. And after training our data, we can publish it or we can just deploy it and test it locally. And using endpoints, we're gonna get to that later on once I define what all these big words that I've just mentioned. So I'm just talking gibberish right now. I hope it's making clear sense, but we're going to get to see how it all works. Here's a graphical representation of how it works. So these are pipelines. Pipelines are like a set of instructions that we wanted to do, and then we just attach it onto our canvas, and then connect the dots in everything that we want to do. So this is like a graphical representation of what I was explaining in the previous slide. And moving on, so the terms that I was using earlier on, I'm now going to explain it. Pipelines. Pipelines are a set of instructions that create and manage workflows that stitch together machine learning phases. So if we had to go back to the code, we're going to have to learn all this code that would enable us to train our machine learning algorithms. But now using pipelines, it's all grouped together. We just have to find which one we want to do or which one we want to use. And then we got a pipeline draft, a place where we can edit our pipelines. We got a pipeline run where we can run our pipeline, and the configuration of the pipelines and its results are stored in our pipeline run. As it states in the definition, we got our data sets, a place where we can easily have access to our data source and work with our data. We got a module. So a module is an algorithm that allows us to perform actions on our data. It works hand in hand with the pipeline. We got computer resources, a place where we can run our pipeline and host our deployed models. And then we get to deploy and publish our models using an endpoint. So basically, an endpoint is an address where our model is stored. Endpoints are very similar. Like we use it a lot in Azure because it's like an address where our product, our application are all stored. It uses an endpoint. Another way to think of endpoints is like an address. We're almost getting to the demo. So you see, this is an example of a pipeline in Python using code. So all of this you have to memorize, you have to know, and there's so much. And people who don't know programming, they'll get confused and give up instantly. So all of this has been done has been put together and put into a graphical representation for you to work with. And we're gonna see that just now. So this is a simple Python pipeline in Python, and then this is one in C sharp. This is like one that I got from our ML.NET, the one that we're gonna be working on with soon. So this is like a preview, a pipeline in C sharp. We're gonna be taking a look at it. And now, speaking about ML.NET API, it's a code-first approach going from Visual Studio to Azure or a cloud service. So now, last week we focused on locally, how to run machine learning locally. And now today we're going to focus on how to use machine learning on Azure. And now next week, we're going to focus on how to go in between the two, from Visual Studio to Azure and from Azure to Visual Studio uh, in that manner. So ML.NET API is for next week. So now it's time for demos. What will we need? You're gonna need an Azure account with credits. You're gonna need credits because what you're gonna be doing requires a lot of credits, a lot of money for us to work with. And then you're gonna need focus and determination. What I'm doing is a bit confusing if you don't understand or if you're not following, but if you just focus and you're determined to learn, you're gonna get through it. And the moment everyone has been waiting for, let's go to Azure. I bet some Malaysia is probably like this right now.
Yeah. Most definitely I am.
Okay, cool. So let me open my Azure. So the thing to this right now, I have to say is that I've already done this demo, but if we don't finish because of time, I'm just gonna take shortcuts and show you the end result because of time. But I'll show you how to get along and to do everything that I've just did step by step. So first things first, we're gonna have to go to Azure. So you can Google or Bing, whatever engine you use. I use Bing because I'm now transferred to Microsoft. I'm now a Microsoft fan. So I search Azure, and then we're gonna go to the official Azure website and click on it. So there we go. This is the official Azure website. So now there's your the menu for navigation and portal and your account details. So over here, this is where you usually sign in. I've already signed in, but to make it fair for first-time users, let us go from scratch. Browser's guest. So this is how it's gonna look like. This is how it's going to look like. It's going to say my account portal and sign in. And now if you don't have an account, you're going to have to create an account. You can choose a free account, and if I'm not mistaken, you get like 100 credits or 50 credits free. But if you're a student, you can just use your institution email and you're going to get 100 credits free as well. So you're going to either you can sign in with your institution email, your organization email, or your account, and then you're just going to have to buy credits from there. So this is how it looks like from scratch. But I've already signed in using my ambassador account. So it's already signed in, and I'm going to go to my portal. And ladies and gentlemen, look at the beautiful Azure portal. This is my portal. It looks really beautiful. I just, I can take a look at this all day. Just joking. So this is Microsoft Azure, and as you can see, this a quick setup to how it is. Over here, we got our resources. As mentioned, our resources are the features that we can use in Azure, and then we got our resource groups where we group all the resources that we're working with. And then over here, we got our recent resource that we're using. As you can see, ML testing, the one I was busy with few hours ago, and other navigation in Azure, it's all there. Over here is the PowerShell and your settings and your account settings. I won't really go through that, but I'll leave it for Tori. So for the purpose of today's demo, when I say create a resource, and then when I search machine learning. So we're gonna search machine learning, and when I say create a new machine learning resource. So now over here, we're gonna put the settings for our resource that we've just created. So which resource group do you want it to go? As mentioned earlier, I have a collection of apples and I have a collection of oranges. I cannot put it together. I must put it separately. So for now, I'm gonna put it in. I have a resource group for ML where I put all my machine learning projects. But if you don't have any resource group, you're gonna have to create a new one by just clicking create and put a name for it. Then the workspace name is where the name of your workspace. So we're gonna name it Inspire SAML for machine learning. Yeah. And then the region, as I mentioned earlier, you have to choose the region closer to you. So I've set it to West Europe because out of all the listed one, this is the closest to us right now. You're gonna put your storage account. It's already there by default, the key by default, application insights by default, and then you're gonna create a container registry, a place where you're gonna host your data that you're gonna be using. Inspire SA, you can use that. No spaces in between the name, guys. Inspire SA 1, 2. Must only contain. What is this doing to me right now? Inspire. Let's see. Let's use small letter. So this is the type of errors that we get when we're using Azure, but just make sure you get a green tick before you continue. Please accept the name. Please accept the name. Okay, it has accepted the name, and I just click save. Okay, so it's now saved, and you can exit this part. Eyeball, cancel, discard. Okay, it's why is it taking so long?
You know, you know how it comes with Azure whenever you're creating a resource and then it wants to deploy it. Whether sometimes,
It takes long to
yeah,
configure. It takes long to configure.
yeah,
Um, so there we go. It's just configured right now. The new registry that I've just created is there. And then after that, I just click review and create. So if there's no problems in your settings, it's gonna be an automatic creation. But if there's problems and errors, you're gonna have to fix those errors before you get a nice smooth creation. We're gonna give it some time. So there you go, validation passed. So everything that I've entered is correct and on point. And when I say create, while it's creating, let me check time and see what we have. Okay, so I'm feeling the need for speed right now. So I can go fast. Come on, Azure, come on. So now it's initiating the deployment for us. We waiting for it to deploy. I mean to create our machine learning resource that we're gonna be using, our workspace. So there we go. Our deployment is in process. We still have to give it a couple of minutes. How many minutes left? So if you check in the notification, it's telling us that it's running, and we have no choices but to wait. No choice but to wait. Patience is key. So over here, it tells us the resource that we're creating and everything that we're creating in our resource group over here, as you can see. It's loading. Mm, mm. Come on, Azure. Okay, so because of time, I think I'm just gonna show you a already created resource group so we don't waste any more time, because I really like to get the content over and done with. Um, mm, okay, there we go. So it says your deployment is complete, it's completed, and now we can go to the resource. So as I mentioned that, and I reiterate that a resource is a service that we can use on Azure. So we created a resource so that we can use machine learning services on Microsoft Azure. And now after that, you're gonna now enter our studio. Now enter our studio, our machine learning studio, so we can work with machine learning on Microsoft Azure. And now it loads. So as you can see here, it's a pretty nice interface. We got our home, we got our notebooks, automated ML designer. Usually there's a tool so you can get used to the new environment, to your new studio that you're in. But everything I won't, because of time, I won't really go through everything. We're just gonna focus on what we need. So after creating our workspace and our resource, um, we're now going to create. We're gonna now create. We're now gonna see how automated machine learning works in person, in live. So after creating our, we're gonna click get started. Um, yeah. So we're going to click automated machine learning because that's what we want to do. So you see over here, the lighting bolt over here, it's automated machine learning. And we're going to click a new automated machine learning run. And it starts from there. And then we have to select our data set. So you can select from an existing database or from an existing database or data store, from web files or from an open data set. But for us, we're going to use um, a local file, and now we're going to load that file as well. So the data set name is data set name. Okay. So for this project, we're gonna be dealing with a banking application where we're gonna use machine learning to predict what if a user is gonna commit to a fixed deposit. That's what we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna give it a name, Inspire SA, ML again, because it's ML, machine learning. And then we won't give it a description. We're gonna leave it to dataset type tabular and dataset version 1. Gonna leave it to default. And then it's gonna ask us all select create a data store. So we're gonna use the first one, currently selected data store on Azure Blob servers. And now we downloaded our data our CSV file, and which is a banking market. As I said, we're gonna be dealing with banking. I have to hurry up because of time, but I don't wanna rush. So after setting up you're locating your file, you're now gonna upload it on your Azure Blob storage. So remember, we created a registry. It's that registry we are uploading it to. So if everything is set, we're gonna click next, and we wait for it to upload. It's uploading and it's parasiting it. So once it's done, we're now going to look at the file format. It gives us more settings for us and parameters for us to set our data that we just put. We're gonna leave the file format to delimited. We're gonna leave it to comma. As you can see, the encoding UTF-8. For column headers, we're gonna use all files have headers. All files have same headers. So now what you're gonna see is that the headers that were in the files are now gonna be used, not the default one. As you can see, ID, age, job, material, education. So before it was column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, but now we're using the exact column names, and we're gonna leave skip rows to none. I'm gonna continue, and now over here we get to decide which column for us not to use, which column we're not gonna use. As you recall, last week we did something similar to this, where we choose the inputs that we want to work with. And now for this purpose, we're gonna remove day of the week because we won't be needing it. And after unticking it, we're gonna click next. And now just double check everything is properly set and organized, and you're gonna click create. So now our data set has been created. We're gonna select it, and then we're gonna click next. Like I said earlier on, you have to choose your data set, upload it, and now we're setting the parameters for the machine learning to take proceed for it to start the training. So experimental name, we're gonna put Inspire SA test, right? That's spelling test. So target column, we're going to put what is our target column? So the target column is what you're trying to predict. So in this instance, we're gonna put our sorry, my mistake. The target column is what we want to predict. So this column indicates whether the client subscribed to a term deposit or not. So for this instance, we're gonna put Y. That's why we're gonna put Y. And then we're gonna select a compute cluster. A compute cluster is simply where we're going to run our test. So currently we don't have any compute cluster. We're gonna create a new one. I'm doing it step by step. I've already done all of this, but now we're just doing it so you can see for yourself how to go about it. So first, as we saw the capabilities that Azure offers, it also offers us to create a virtual machine. A virtual machine is a machine that exists within a machine or on the cloud. So now we're setting the properties of our local machine. We're gonna say dedicated. We're gonna put virtual machine type CPU, virtual machine size, and we're gonna click DS12V2. DS12V2. So we're gonna say we want 4 cores, 28 gigs of RAM, and 56 gigabytes of storage. So that's what we're gonna do. And then after that, click next. The settings of our virtual machine, we're gonna give it a name, Inspire SA PC, Inspire SA PC, and then we're gonna put it 1 and maximum number of nodes. And then idle second is we're gonna leave it to 120 as well. I'm gonna leave it to 120, and then create because of time. The same machine that we're creating, because the same virtual machine we're creating, we're also gonna use it for the designer. And then after that, we're gonna click next. Classification. So the type of test that we're gonna be doing is classification, as you can see here. As you can see, we're gonna click on the settings, view additional settings over here, and we're gonna choose AUC weighted. This is the metric that I explained earlier on when I used the AUC weighted metric, and the explained best model. Let's see. Validation, no. Okay, that everything is set over here. I feel like I'm not explaining properly. I really feel I'm not explaining properly. Few additional blocked. So as you can see, the metric that we're using is AUC weighted. Blocked algorithms, no, we will not block any algorithms or restrict the machine learning with any algorithm. We're going to leave the other settings that it is, and we're going to click finish, so that we can start with the machine learning run, so that automated machine learning can start. Yes?
We have about -5 minutes left.
I see. No problem. We also concluding. We've just finished with the first demo. Finished with the
Okay,
first
no
demo.
problem.
Yeah. So this is the first demo that we are doing, and as you can see, it's now running. You see status not running, but it's gonna start running, and we're gonna leave it there and give it its time to finish. And now, what you're going to do next is gonna go to the designer. So now we're gonna go back to our studio, launch studio. We go back to our Azure and go to our resource group. And now we're gonna launch our studio. And now we're gonna click designer. So you see automated machine learning, and now we got designer. And when I click new pipeline, new pre-built pipeline. And as you can see, it's already set for us. And now we're gonna have to pay careful attention to what you're gonna be doing, because I'm gonna be rushing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set, okay, 1 minute. So now for this tutorial, we're gonna be dealing with the car prediction app. It's basically going to tell us predict the car prices of certain cars. So as you can see, here is the default modules with all the algorithms already set for us, and now we're just gonna drag and drop. So now we're gonna change the name quickly. I've already done it, so I'm just saying cut and paste. Cut and paste. OV tutorial car prices, and after that we're going to open our where is this thing now? Okay, cool. So the first thing we're gonna do is open sample data sets. So sample data sets have already existing data sets for us to use, and now we're gonna use this automobile price data. It has raw data inside it. And now we're gonna just drag and drop it over there. And now you can see we can connect it. After putting our data set, just to quickly show you, you can right click and then say visualize data set output. And now you get to see what is inside your data. So all these things are inside our data, and we get to see a visual representation of it, as you can see. Yeah, like this, you see it's showing even in graph form. So I just wanted to show you that, so you can see that we are working with our data. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have to select our data. We're going to have to specify what are we working with. So we're going to say, you can even use select, you can use this search. Because of time, we're going to use select columns in data set, as you can see. Select columns in data set, and we're going to put it there so that we can select the data set we want to work with. And we're going to connect our data set. As you can see over here, there's like a red triangle telling us that something is missing. So we have to put values inside this statement. We're gonna go to edit column. After editing clicking edit columns, we're gonna do this include, where it says include all columns, so that all columns in the data sets is included. And then after that, we're gonna put again, add a new rule or restriction. When I say exclude, exclude means what should it exclude? Also gonna put column names, exclude column names. So we don't want it to include column names, and we're gonna say normalized losses. So the column that we don't want to be in our data is normalized losses. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna click save, going as fast as I can. And then over here, we're gonna put a comment. So a comment will help us determine what are we doing, what exactly that function is going to be doing. So we're gonna say exclude normalized losses. So the purpose of this a line over here or this block over here is to exclude normalized losses. As you can see, it pops up there as a comment. So after putting that, we're now going to have to clean our data. I think I forgot to show you I forgot to show you that this data is raw. Since it's raw, it needs to be cleaned in order for us to use it properly. So we're gonna search clean data, clean missing data. So whatever data is missing, the AI is gonna replace it with some relevant data for us to work with, so that our results can be more accurate. So there's the day we've now attached it. So Vanessa, how are we doing for time? Okay, it's just gone 4 past.
We're we're um we're 2 minutes over.
Okay.
You can
Um.
carry on.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So yes, our block over here, it says clean missing data. So now, as we could do all of this using code, but we're not doing anything using code. We're just using a drag and drop. And in this cleaning data, missing data, is already a set of code for us to use. And now we're gonna enter the rows in order for it to remove. We're gonna enter our columns, go back and set our restriction. Um, we're gonna set our restriction, and we're gonna say columns. All columns. You see, include all columns. Columns to be cleaned. So we want all the columns in the data set to be cleaned. And then we're going to put a comment as well, so that we know what we are doing. We have an idea what we are doing. And we're gonna say remove missing values. All the values that are missing is gonna remove the missing values. And then that's done. And now what we're going to do is we're now going to train our machine learning model. So in order for us to train, we're going to do two things. We're going to first split the data. One data is going to go for testing, and the other one is going to go for training. So now that's what we're going to do now. In order for us to split the data, guess what we're going to use? We're going to use the split data tool, the split data module, split data, split data module, and we put it there. You see, simple, drag and drop. So I'm just gonna minimize because of to make use of my space. And now we're gonna connect these two first. And now I want you to notice one thing. We have 2 points over here. The left one is for the cleaned data set. So all the clean data are gonna be coming through this one. And those unscattered data, those raw wasted data is coming out through that one. So now we want to work with the clean data, and we're gonna connect it to the split data module. So now in the split data module, we're gonna be splitting our data. So we're first going to put this to 0.7. So we want 70% of the data model to go for testing, and 30% will be 70% of data will be going for testing, and 30% will go to the deployment of the model. I'm sorry to repeat. 70% will go for the training, and 30% will go for the testing. This is what it simply means. So after putting the data model, we're now gonna train. So we're gonna search for the train the algorithm for us to train our model. So as you can see here, we got machine learning model, and now we're going to use a linear regression. So it is the type of training that we're going to be doing. We're going to put it there, and we're going to leave it there. Leave it there. We won't edit anything on it. And now we're gonna say train model. So after choosing which algorithm for us to use, we're gonna say train model. We're gonna search for the train model. You see, train model. So this command here will allow us to train our model. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect the linear regression to the left-hand side, and then we're gonna also take the left-hand side of our split data, because it's getting in the what the training data. So the 70% that we split it is going to come from the left hand side, and the one that's going to be used for testing is going to come on the right hand side. So we're using it to train, and after that, you can see that there's an error again, and we have to put the column name. So we want to predict the price, as you can see. Column name for us to train and predict. We want to predict the price. So that's done. We're almost finished. So after putting the train model, we're now gonna put the score model for us to check the score of our test, of our training. Score, we're gonna search score model. There you go, score model, and we're gonna put it on this side. So now with the score model, we're going to take the one that we splitted, and we're gonna put it onto the left hand side of it. So basically, the one that's used for testing is gonna go to the score model. Okay, I don't know why it wants to go to the right hand side. Interesting. Yeah. So there's the one that's split for going the 30% is gonna go to the score model in order for it to train, and then after that, let's put it down there. And the one that we're getting from the train, we're gonna put it there, as you can see. So 30% already going for testing, and then the 70% that's going for training is gonna come and we're still gonna go into the score model. And last but not least, we're gonna evaluate our model, the test that we did. We're gonna see the results right now. Evaluate model. So evaluate, we're gonna put it there, and now we're gonna connect it like that on the left hand side. So that is about it. So this is how it looks like. See, I did a machine learning algorithm, drag and drop, and then I just click submit. Target a pipeline. What do I mean? Why didn't I target? Oh, so in the settings, yeah, output settings. Okay. Yo, now I'm feeling the pressure. Yeah, submit. It's correct. Oh yeah. Okay. So remember, when we are doing automated machine learning, we created a virtual machine for us to train our data in. So now, in order for us to train our use at machine learning designer, we also have to train it in the same virtual machine. You can create a new virtual machine or use the existing one. For this instance, since we created, we're gonna use an existing one, and we're gonna say save. And after that, we're gonna click submit. You can create it as a new experiment or a new one, and we're gonna say it as Inspire SA test because it's part of the test. No, we're gonna put it as a new one. Sorry. So Inspire SA designer. So there you go, and submit. And now it's gonna be doing the test in the background. So now it's doing the test in the background. So to conclude, I've already done everything. I'm just going to show you the results of it, and then I'll pass it over to my host, Samaleze, which I've already taken so much time. So this is it. So this is our result. Same project. This is how it looks like. It ran through our algorithm that we set, through the pipelines that we've set. All of these are pipelines, a set of instructions that we wanted to do. So this is a pipeline. It completes a set of instructions. As you can see, it's a pipeline over there. We can choose to submit it and save it, or we can choose to publish it. I won't do any of that for the scope of today's session. And then let's look at our so this is automated designer, machine learning designer, and now this is our automated machine learning. It took some time, but there's it. As you can see, it's just finished. So if you look closely, we got the algorithm name that it used, we got the weight, the metric that we specified, the sampling. It used 100% of the sample that was given. It ran on the 96th time and it was created. How long it took to run the test, and if it managed to complete or not. So these are the results of our test. And now if we click on it and then we go to the model, it tells us exactly in more in depth about what it used, about how it tells us more in detail about what type of test the automated machine learning did for us using that data. So there you go. This is automated machine learning on Microsoft Azure. It does everything for us without learning without having any programming knowledge or knowing how to be a data scientist or knowing data scientists around. So there you go. The tests are finished. That's the end of the demo, and we are finished with Microsoft Azure. So now, so if you want more resources, you must just go to HTTPS Microsoft to learn more about Microsoft Azure and how to get used to it. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. And any questions?
It does not look like we have questions, and this was some awesome stuff that I just learned now. Because what I just saw is that we never had any code. As much as you showed us some part of the code when we were looking at the Python pipeline and also we're looking at the C# pipeline, right? None of that code we didn't. We actually just used the machine learning that was on Azure, and that's the fun stuff. I always say whenever I'm on Power Thursdays, I'm saying no code or low code platforms are the future, and look at us now doing machine learning without that code. It's just
True.
exciting. That's just exciting. Thanks for this wonderful session, Narcisse. It was really insightful and knowledgeable. I really gained some skills here, and hopefully, I will start integrating machine learning in my stuff and also start teaching my own people on the side, you know. And if they want to learn anything more to what I would show them, because I'll just do the introduction if I do that, I will just shoot them straight towards your direction and stuff.
Mm.
So thanks. I don't wanna drag this on because way over time. So do you have any words to share with us?
Well, I appreciate the audience that came through and hope they learned something. And just to give you a heads up for next week, we're just gonna be doing demos, more examples on machine learning on Azure locally and in between the two, so that we can grasp machine learning, and then afterwards we can move to another aspect of AI. So really, I appreciate that.
That sounds exciting. Demos, yay! I, yeah, I can't wait. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who came through today and watched our show. Hopefully, you guys are gonna be able to create your own machine learning resources on Azure. At least now you actually know how to get an Azure subscription, a free subscription from Azure. So thanks
Mm.
everyone, and thank you Narcissus for coming through today and give us this knowledgeable session.
Awesome. Thanks, bro. I just want to add for tomorrow, we have how to become a full stack developer, and we're gonna have a really special guest. I'll let you see it on the poster. So please tune in, fellow women out there, and get ready to get ready to be inspired by our guest tomorrow.
That sounds exciting. That sounds exciting because yesterday was International Women's Day. So please, ladies, come in numbers tomorrow and watch this session that we're gonna have tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome. Enjoy your evening, and bye bye on my side.
Bye, guys.
Guess you don't really wanna hear it. Still broken hearted, I've been dealing. You got me all up in my feelings. Now I'm all caught up in my feelings. Guess you don't really wanna hear it. Still broken hearted, I've been dealing. You got me all up in my feelings.
Go slow. Take me back to how we met the first night. You know that you had me at the first line. But you say it's okay every time I come back. This won't be the last time. So go slow, 'cause tomorrow's just a memory in our minds. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I feel every minute moving in your body. So breathe. You got me like, should I stay or go? I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. Can we be just like the first night? All I need is one. Wanna say it's gonna be alright. But we both know I'll be gone. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go, but I'll be back before the afterglow. I'm a traveler, you gotta let me go. What if it's goodbye? What if it's not for us? Will I be on your mind? What if it's goodbye? Please just let me hold you one last time. Thinking back to when you told me that we're something right. It's the first day of our roller coaster they call life. I guess you meant to steady dance around for now. use that flame to burn me out of your mind. The truth is I need you tonight, one last time. It's goodbye. Please just let me hold you one last time. Said I changed the ways of mine. I did, but not the way that you like. The truth is I need you tonight, one last time. The truth is I need you tonight. I promise you it's nothing but a rainy day. We've been through worse and I can change, but you don't buy a word that I say. But what if it's goodbye? What if it's not for us? Will I be on your mind? But what if it's goodbye? Please just let me